Hello students, welcome you all to today's session. This is the part 3 video of the lesson Outbreak of World War I and its Aftermath. Already we have completed part 1 and part 2. And now let us have a short recap of what we have studied in the previous sessions. Let us have a short recap of what we have studied in the previous session. First one is the scramble for colonies. Initially, the capitalist countries, they started to produce more and more goods and they want to make more profit. So therefore they went to other countries in order to sell their manufactured products. So initially they went to other countries for the purpose of trade, and then they slowly started to occupy that place and they took control over that area. And this is how the colonization happens. And then we studied about the rivalry of great powers, then the causes of the war. Causes means the reasons that led to the start of the war. Next we studied about the course of the war. Course means it is the important events that happened during the First World War. And next is the entry of US into the war. Initially, US did not directly take part in the war, but it provided only a moral or indirect support to Britain and France. But when a German submarine, when it destroyed an American ship Lusitania, the Americans were really disappointed, and this is how America involved directly itself into the war. And then Germany was defeated and the First World War came to an end. We studied about the Treaty of Versailles. It includes 10 points. Hope you'd have able to recall. And next is Russian Revolution. Russian Revolution is an important event in the world history. And this Russian Revolution was started in the year 1917 and it took place in two times, one in March and another one in November. After the resignment of Tsar, when he resigns from his position, a temporary government was formed by the bourgeois government. Okay, and then the people disliked this government. They disliked this bourgeois government. So therefore, a second great uprising took place. So in this session, we are going to study about the second uprising that took place after the bourgeois government. Okay, clear? Okay, children, is it clear? Provisional government. Provisional government means it is the temporary form of government. After the decline of the Tsar's government, two parallel bodies, that is, two parties, came into force in order to form the government or take over the functions of the government. One was the bourgeois party, which includes the members of the Duma. Duma means it is the parliament. These members were mostly from the propertied class. And the other party was the Soviet Council, which includes the working members, working class people. Okay, this Duma or the bourgeois party, they were able to form the provincial government or the temporary government with the approval of the Soviet. Only with the approval of the Soviet they formed this provincial government, and after they came into power, they started to dominate the Bolsheviks. Already we have studied what is meant by Mensheviks and Bolsheviks. The members of the bourgeois party were called as the Mensheviks, and the members of the Soviet Council were called as the Bolsheviks. Okay, so these Mensheviks, they started to dominate the members of the Soviet, and the minority Bolsheviks, that is the working class people, they were timid, they were feared, and they were not able to decide what to do in the future, and that is, they don't have a proper plan or a proper leader to guide them. And this situation of the Soviet Council changed after the arrival of Lenin. We already know who is Lenin. He is the person who is inspired by the principles of Karl Marx. He followed communism. Okay, and this situation of the working class people or the members of the Soviet changed after the arrival of Lenin. Failure of provisional government. Now we will see what are the reasons for the failure of the provisional government. When the revolution broke out, Lenin was in Switzerland and he wanted to continue the revolution. He gave his famous slogan, "All power to the Soviets." Okay, he gave his slogan, "All power to the Soviets." On hearing this slogan, Lenin became popular among the people, especially among the working class. Lenin also gave another slogan, bread, peace, and land. So, these are the basic three necessities which these workers are longing for. And when Lenin gave the slogan, the workers who were disappointed were very much attracted towards this slogan, that is the bread, peace, and land. Bread means the food, peace, and land. So, land, it is the cultivation land which they are longing for, through which they can live peacefully. When Lenin gave the slogan, he became popular among the working class people. But the provincial government made two grave mistakes. Now let us see what are the two great mistakes which were made by this provisional government. First, it postponed the decision on the demand for the distribution of land. That is, when this bourgeois government came into power, when they formed the temporary form of government, they did not provide the land for the workers and peasants, but they postponed the decision of giving the land to the workers and peasants. And the second mistake made by them is they wanted to continue with the World War. Already after joining in this First World War, the Russia faced a great destruction in life and property. But when this bourgeois government wanted its country to participate in the war, it really disappointed the peasant soldiers. Okay, this intensified the rising in Petrograd, which was led by Bolsheviks. The government banned Pravda. Pravda means it is a newspaper which publishes news in favor of this Bolsheviks or the Soviet Council. So therefore, government banned this Pravda newspaper, and Pravda means truth. Okay, Pravda means truth in Russian language, and all the Bolsheviks were arrested. All the members of the Soviet Council were arrested. Okay, and the leader of the Bolsheviks party, that is Trotsky, he was also arrested. This is a short description about Lenin. Lenin was born in 1870 near the Middle Volga to educated parents. Influenced by the ideas of Karl Marx, Lenin believed that the way for freedom was through mass action. Okay, the Lenin was really attracted by the ideas of Karl Marx. Oh, so what are the ideas of Karl Marx? It is communism. Lenin was really attracted towards the ideas of Karl Marx. Lenin believed that the way for freedom was through mass action. Mass action means everyone should unitedly fight against their evil. Lenin gained the support of a small majority known as Bolsheviks, and Bolsheviks already we know it is the Soviet Council which includes the worker members, and this Bolsheviks became the Bolsheviks party. Okay, The opponents of this Bolsheviks were called as Mensheviks. Is it clear? Takeover by the Bolsheviks party under Lenin's leadership. In October, Lenin convinced the Bolshevik Center Committee. That is, he convinced and produced a detailed description to the Bolsheviks Central Committee, and he wanted to start the revolution immediately. Trotsky. Who is Trotsky? We have studied already. Yes, he was the leader of this Soviet Council, and he prepared a detailed plan on how to carry out this revolution. On 7th November, the key government buildings, which means the important government buildings, including the Winter Palace, the Prime Minister's headquarters, were seized by the factory workers and revolutionary troops. Revolutionary troops mainly included the peasants. So, these important government buildings were seized by the factory workers and the revolutionary troops. On 8th of November 1917, a new communist government was in office in Russia. So, the next day itself, a new communist government was in office in Russia. What is this communist government? We know that Lenin was inspired by Karl Marx ideologies. What was Karl Marx ideology? It is communism. So, therefore, the new government of Lenin is said to be the communist government was in office in Russia. Its head was Lenin. The Bolsheviks party was renamed as Russian Communist Party. Outcome of the Russian Revolution. So, what was the result of this revolution? The Communist Party, Russian Communist Party, who was in power, they have won the election, isn't it? This that is the Bolsheviks party is also called as the Russian Communist Party. It eliminated illiteracy. It provided education for all, and it eradicated poverty. Okay, within a short period. And Russian industries and agriculture developed remarkably. Women were given equal rights, including the right to vote. Industries and banks were nationalized. Land was announced as social property. So, which is the basic need for the peasants, isn't it? So, their land were given to them, and it was announced as a social property. That is, it is common to all. Land was distributed to poor peasants. Lenin thought the most important factor for all of the provisional government was the failure to withdraw from the war. And now Lenin is stating that the failure of the provisional government or the bourgeois government, why it failed? Because it did not come out of the world war at the needed time. As there was a great destruction to life and property, Lenin immediately appealed for peace. Therefore, Lenin decided to withdraw from the war in order to form a new government. In March 1918, the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk was signed. Since Russia wanted peace and harmony in the nation, it signed the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk with Germany. Global influence of the Russian Revolution. The Russian Revolution acted as an inspiration to other revolution and revolutionaries in the world. In many countries, communist parties were formed. The Russian communist government also encouraged the colonies to fight for their freedom. That is, it encouraged the people who were under the control of other country to fight for their freedom. Debates means arguments over key issues, land reforms, social welfare, workers' right, and gender equality. That is, equality among men and women. started taking place in global context. That is, all these regarding all these issues, they started to argue throughout the world. League of Nations structure and composition. The covenant of the League. Covenant means the contract or agreement. Okay, the contract was of the league was worked out at Paris Peace Conference, and it included in each of the treaties that were signed after the First World War. So this contract was included in each of the treaties that were signed after the First World War. This work of including the contract in each treaty and also the signing of the contract was carried out immediately due to the pressure from President Wilson. In drawing up the constitution, constitutions means we know already it is the law or set of rules and regulations of this organization, the idea of Britain and America prevailed. So, in making the law for this organization, in this idea, the Britain and America succeeded. The League of Nations was formed in 1920 and it consisted of 5 divisions. They are the Assembly, the Council, the Secretariat, the Permanent Court of Justice, the International Labour Organization. The Assembly consists of one representative from each country. Okay, so there will be one representative from each country and they together form the Assembly. In this Assembly, they decide the important issues, they discuss upon important issues and they make important decisions. Next is the council. The council was the executive of the league. In this council they execute the ideas which was discussed and decided in the assembly. Okay, they execute and implement the ideas which are discussed in the assembly. Britain, France, Italy, Japan, and United States are the permanent members of the council. So, who are the permanent members of the council? Britain, France, Italy, Japan, and United States. See, in this, all these countries are the countries which won in the First World War. So, all these countries are said to be the permanent members of the council. And each member had one vote. See, actually, I already told you in this assembly they discuss about important issues and they make important decisions. When an issue is raised, the members of that assembly have the rights to vote. Okay, so whichever decision is in majority, that will be implemented. And even the small nation has the right to veto. Veto means it has the right either to accept or reject. The Secretariat of the League of Nations was located in Geneva. So, the Secretariat of the League of Nations was located at Geneva, and its first Secretary General was Sir Eric Drummond. Okay, the first Secretary General was Sir Eric Drummond from Britain. And now we will see how the staff of the Secretariat are appointed. These staffs of the Secretariat are appointed by the Secretary General. Normally we studied who is the Secretary General. First Secretary General, Sir Eric Drummond. So this Secretary General, in consultation with the council members, he allocates or appoints the staff of the Secretariat. The International Court of Justice was set up in The Hague. So, highest court of India is Supreme Court, and to the world it is the International Court of Justice, and it is located in Hague. The court has 15 judges. Okay, and when there is a dispute among the countries, it is solved by this International Court of Justice. The International Labour Organization. Labor means workers. The International Labour Organization comprised a secretariat and general conference which included four representatives from each country. Objectives of the League. The twofold objectives. The two important objectives of the League of Nations are to avoid war and maintain peace in the world, and the second objective is to promote international cooperation in economic and social affairs. So, these are the two main important objectives or the aim of the League. The next is the League intended to act as conciliator and arbitrator. Conciliator means the country which mediates between two countries are said to be the conciliator, and arbitrator means the countries that settle disputes are said to be the arbitrator. So, this League of Nations acts as both conciliator and arbitrator, thereby, it solves the disputes in the earlier stage. That is, before the start of the war itself, it talks among the countries and it settles the disputes. Even after arbitration, okay, even after arbitration, that is, even after this argument or even after in trying to solve the disputes, if the war is about to break out, the members who are taking part in the war, that is the member countries who are taking part in the war, should apply for sanctions or permissions, okay, to the aggressor, first economic and then military wise. The difficulties in achieving the objectives was increased. We already know what were the objectives of the League of Nations. The first objective was to maintain peace among the countries, and the second one was to develop international cooperation in economic and social activities among the countries. So there was a difficulty in achieving these objectives because the three great powers, namely USA, Germany, and Russia, did not become the member of the League of Nations. USA did not become the member of the League of Nations, and Germany, as it was a defeated nation, it also was not a member of the League of Nations. But later in 1926, Germany joined the League of Nations, and also Russia joined this League of Nations in the year 1934. But again in 1933, Germany resigned from League of Nations, and in 1939, Russia was expelled. Expelled means it was thrown out from this League of Nations. Okay. The activities of League of Nations. The League of Nations were successful in solving the disputes between the countries. In the beginning, it was successful, that is from 1920 to 1925. It was successful in solving a number of disputes. And this League of Nations was successful in solving the three main issues. One in 1920. In 1920, there was a dispute between Sweden and Finland, okay, over the sovereignty of the Åland Island. That is, they had a dispute between in who has to take the government over the or the control over the Åland Island. And the League of Nations, they investigated over this issue and they provided the judgment that the island should go to Finland, and thus the issue or dispute between Sweden and Finland was solved. And the second issue which was solved by the League of Nations was the dispute between Poland and Germany. So there was a dispute between Poland and Germany in separating the border between them regarding to the Upper Silesia. And this issue was also solved by the League of Nations successfully. And the third dispute was between Greece and Bulgaria in the year 1925. In this issue, Greece invaded or defeated Bulgaria, and after this incident, the League of Nations ordered a ceasefire. Ceasefire means that they temporarily stopped this fight. Okay, and after investigation, it blamed Greece, and they decided that Greece was to pay the reparations. Okay, they found that Greece was guilty, and they punished Greece that they have to pay to Bulgaria for its damages caused by them. So these are the three main issues which was solved successfully by the League of Nations. The League of Nations signed the Locarno Treaty in the year 1925. So the Locarno Treaty was signed in the year 1925. After signing this treaty, Germany, France, Belgium, Great Britain and Italy, they mutually means they all together promised to maintain peace in the Western Europe. After this incident, Germany also became one of the member of the League of Nations, and it got a permanent seat on the council. Already we have studied that one member from each country, one representative from each country should be a member of the council. So after Germany had joined this League of Nations, it also got a permanent seat on the council. After 2 years, the US and Russia began to participate in the non-political activities of the league. Okay, so after 2 years, these two countries, US and Russia, they just only participated only in the non-political activities of the league. Violations means it is the contraventions or the destructions. One of the major problems faced by the European powers was that they were not able to find the way to reduce the weapons and military force. So therefore, in 1925, the Council of the League, they set up a commission which is called as the Disarmament Conference Commission. This commission was introduced in order to sort out the problem in achieving the disarmament. Is it clear? And even though this commission was set up in 1925, it was the conference was only implemented only by the end of February 1932. In this disarmament conference, Germany demanded that it wanted equal arms as that of the France. That is, it demanded that also it wanted equal number of military and also the weapons as that of France. But it was rejected by the League of Nations. So therefore, in October, Hitler withdrew Germany from the conference and also from the League of Nations. In September 1931, Japan attacked Manchuria. So for this attack or the battle, Japan was condemned. That is, Japan was punished by the League of Nations. So therefore, Japan also followed the example of Germany, and it resigned itself from the League of Nations. Likewise, Italy attacked Ethiopia. The League of Nations condemned or applied sanctions for it. As this sanction came into effect, Italy also resigned from the League of Nations in 1937. As many nations did not respect the League of Nations, thereafter the League of Nations was only a passive witness to the event. It did not interfere in any of the disputes or conflict among the nations, it remained as only a passive witness. It was just seeing what was happening, but it did not take any action over the countries which was in dispute. For example, it did not take part in the crisis over the Rhineland, Austria, Czechoslovakia, and Poland. And the last action, that is, lastly, it interfered into the dispute which took place in December 1939. And the incident was that when Russia attacked Finland, the League of Nations interfered into this issue, and it provided a judgment that Russia has to be expelled from the League of Nations. So, therefore, Russia was thrown out from the League of Nations. After this incident, the assembly did not meet again, and therefore the League of Nations was finally dissolved in the year 1946. Causes of failure of the League of Nations. First of all, it is said that the League of Nations appeared to be an organization of those who were victorious in the First World War. That is, it is said that the League of Nations only supported the countries which were won in the First World War. Okay, and this League of Nations did not have any military power. So, therefore, if there is a sudden dispute or a war between the countries, it was not able to suppress that war because it does not have any military power of its own. And the third reason is the founders of this League of Nations, they underestimated the power of nationalism. And the collective security, which was one of the objective of the League of Nations, could not be applied in the actual practice. That is, it could not provide security or protection towards all the countries equally. When the countries like Italy, Japan, and Germany, when they came under the dictatorship rule, that is one man rule, they refused to obey the orders of the League of Nations. So, therefore, these countries like Italy, Japan, and Germany, they withdrew from the League of Nations, and Britain and France were the only major powers to act according to the League of Nations. So, these are the causes for failures of the League of Nations. So, we have completed with the lesson, and now we will have a short summary of the lesson. In this lesson, we studied about the capitalist countries, and their main aim was to make profit. So, they manufactured more and more goods, and they went in search for markets and also for raw materials. This is what we call it as scramble for colonies. And they also involved in colonization of the countries, and the result was that there was a clash among the great powers in Europe. And next is rise of Japan. Japan, they silently they improved their power, and later it proved itself as one of the important countries in the circle of the great powers. And then we studied about the division of Europe into two warring camps, that is the Triple Alliance and the Triple Entente. Under the Triple Alliance, we have Germany, Italy, and Austria Hungary, and in under the Triple Entente, we have Britain, France, and Russia. And we also studied about the other causes which led to the start of the First World War, and then we studied the important factors that took place during the First World War. And finally, the First World War came to an end after the entry of America into the war. So, totally, Germany was defeated by the Allied countries. And we studied about the Paris Peace Conference and also the provisions of the Versailles Treaty. Then we studied about the Russian Revolution, which was an important outcome of the First World War. And lastly, we studied about the first World Peace Organization, that is the League of Nations, the objective of the League of Nations, and the activities of the League of Nations, and also what were the failures, causes that led to the failure of the League of Nations. Okay, children, go through the lesson, and also the PDF of the keynotes is given to you. Write it in your class book and go through the question and answers given in the PDF. Thank you.